to Fan in the Stand. We are finally back doing videos. College is done. No more exams. We can actually do some videos. Loads of stuff coming up. We're going to start today with Premier League predictions again. After last time, it was so bad we didn't even bother reacting to them. It was so bad. This time, it's going to be better. We're going to go 20 for 20 or 40 for 40. We're going to have exactly the same predictions, I reckon. All bang on.
I doubt it.
Yeah, we'll see. Also,
I doubt
articles going on Vavel, a nice website. Really happy to be working with them. I'll put the link in the description for my 3 articles are up now. But yeah, let's go. We're back again with Ben. Welcome back, Ben.
Don't know why. Especially after last time.
Because redemption.
Yeah.
We're going to get some good predictions in today.
I don't know what redemption is going to be there, to be honest.
No Forest in the relegation zone again. Or is it?
Oh, I can't promise anything about what I say about Forest.
So, should we start bottom to top again?
Well, that's usually how they work.
Yeah, but sometimes we like to change it up.
Now,
Let's go bottom
20th,
to top.
work our way up. Because I feel like it should be easy to do the bottom 4. I think will probably be very similar.
Yeah, so in 20th, who have you got?
I have Southampton.
Okay. Why Southampton?
And for me, I haven't looked too much into the transfer window, but I did enough when I was doing these. Uninspiring, really. It's the best word I can put for it. You've got, especially, why the hell have you brought back Lallana when the fan base don't like him? And he's, 34, 35
yeah,
now?
always injured.
And so he's not really going to do much. I don't like many of the other signings that they've made. It's not really Prem experience, and any key experience players seem to have gone. Che Adams is gone. Armstrong is gone. It's like they would have been perfect for the Premier League because they've had experience and all that done. And for me, Russell Martin won't make it to the January window. He'll be gone. But by that point, Southampton won't be able to do enough to get themselves out of the relegation zone and will finish 20th.
See, there is one signing for Southampton that I really like from AZ Alkmaar. I really like the Sugawara signing.
Oh, yeah, no. I do like that, but it was like when Sheffield United went and signed, what was it? Vinicius Souza out from Europe, did really well in Europe, came in, did okay, but was just part of a team that weren't that good. Like Burnley were ambitious. Luton brought in some ambitious players when out of the small side that they did, but I feel like if you're going to go for those players, you need to make sure you've got a squad that will work. And for me, Southampton don't have enough in multiple places for that to do so.
Fair enough. See, in 20th, I've gone different. I have gone with points deduction. Leicester.
Yeah. I mean, my bottom 3 is quite easy, but I do agree in saying that Leicester probably, depending on how their season goes, could be last with their points deduction.
I like their squad, but I just think the points deduction is going to be too much for them. I like that they've kept Vardy in there. I think that experience for them is going to be massive in there. Even if he doesn't play that much, I still think it's going to be massive. Obviously, I like the Facundo Buonanotte loan signing. If he plays, he should play for them. He deserves to play for them because he'll be really good.
Realistically thinking, who drops out? Who doesn't displace him in that starting 11 if he's in there?
Exactly.
If he's in there,
man they need to be looking at.
Which players are there that are gonna? Because
with
Steve Cooper
on one side.
Yeah,
like and Steve Cooper on the left side.
Yeah, I'm just thinking like they've got an experienced manager with Steve Cooper.
Yes.
And I feel like with how he plays, you saw how he got like Gibbs White, Elanga, and Hudson-Odoi to work for that up until the December-January period, you could easily see the same happening with the Leicester side.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see them staying up because they do have the squad. I just think losing Dewsbury Hall, a big leader, big player in their squad, could have a big effect. And also, the points deduction could be too much for them. But again, the bottom four could all change about.
I think the bottom four, there are, if you're going off the same idea I had, these should be similar. Maybe one of the teams being a bit different, but the same area.
Yeah, I think so. And going straight up to 19th. Who have you got in 19th position?
Well, we've just spoken about them, so it shouldn't take too long. I've got Leicester City in 19th.
And I have got Southampton.
Oh, there you go.
Similar reasons, I believe, for both teams. So I don't think we really need to.
For me, I
talk
just
about
feel
why we
that
put them
even though
there.
for me, I think Leicester could be near the high end, potentially getting survival. But if the point deductions came through, it would drop them back to about that position.
Yeah. And we'll go straight up to 18th then. I have got. I think we're going to be different here. I've got another points deduction because they seem to get all the points deductions for no reason.
Everton.
They've made a good couple of moves, I think, with Ndiaye coming in, but the points deduction is going to do them this time. They can't keep.
I mean, there's Scott Olsen as well. Don't forget about that.
They can't keep staying up with how they've been going the last few years.
You've got to remember that you've got probably one of the best relegation expert managers running that team. And this, if you got to think about it. The Everton team that is now is much better and way better than the Burnley sides of previous that Dyche has, managed.
Yes,
and if
I
it
agree.
is, it's going to be another. I think if they get another points deduction, it won't be more than 6, like maybe 6 or 8, which is very easily assignable, especially with the gap that you've got between the Championship and the Premier League.
We'll see. I do agree about Dyche, and I do like their squad as well. But I just feel like this time it might be goodbye Everton. But we'll see. Dyche, obviously Dyche, we know he can easily keep them up, as you've said. And obviously they got main man up front, Neal Maupay. Like I'm sure Maupay's probably going to leave eventually.
I think he'll either get another late loan move or he'll just be in the squad and run his contract down.
Yeah. And your final relegation position. I'm going to take a guess here.
Okay.
Is it Forest?
No, it's not.
It's not. Is it a newly promoted side?
I hate to be Mr. Boring, but for something I mentioned earlier, the gap between the Championship and the Premier League is maybe a bit too much. I've got Ipswich in 18th, but for me, what it would be is Ipswich would be similar to how Luton was, but for me, Ipswich do have the better squads. But McKenna, he'll survive the season quite easily. He'll do really well, and what my feeling is, because of the gap, it will be very close, but I feel like the current Premier League teams will have that little extra boost, especially coming into a sense of a relegation battle, especially the teams that I've got within that battle. I feel like it'll be a bit too much for any really the promoted teams to, make that leap. And it's not like I'm not falling under any trap of like Luton making it out or Burnley doing really well. I feel like it will just be a very close and just missing out on maybe the final 2-3 match days since relegation.
So the rich get richer with the gap increasing between the Premier League and the Championship.
For the issue is until they fix that gap, I can only see when the 3 teams come up, the 3 teams will be easily the ones to go back down and most likely to happen. But
yeah, I think last season really showed that gap because a lot of people, including myself, thought Burnley would comfortably stay up.
Yeah,
but
it's the fact that you had Sheffield well far back, conceding. I think they conceded over 100 or 70
a lot of
plus
goals.
goals. It was it's done some huge batterings in that, and then Burnley had a few batterings, did a little bit better, but were still a big. And they had the thing with Burnley is the best part that they had came at the end when it was too late.
Yeah, way too
Which I
late.
feel like that's the issue. Like they need the promoted teams need that all the way through, but they won't be able to because they don't get the same finances or have the same backing that the Premier League, the current Prem sides do. And
Yeah,
even the
and it's
teams that then come
interesting
down into
because
the Championship, teams that come down to the Championship, 90% of them will just return straight away.
And obviously, you think the playoff teams, Luton were the best out of the promoted teams, and I have a feeling Ipswich are going to be the best out of the promoted teams because they get more money from the. Because Ipswich have spent some money.
Ipswich has spent a lot, but then Ipswich came up second. So your idea of it's the playoff teams doing it. In that case, it'd be Southampton, but
It's always the team that's first in the Championship. Never do the best.
I don't see Russell Martin doing that well. So
no.
I think even in my notes I didn't say this about my Leicester thing, but I said that Steve Cooper potentially could be gone, before the season's done with it.
I think a lot of Leicester fans agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think
it's not like
we should touch on it quickly because we were just talking about Burnley. Vincent Kompany, Bayern Munich manager. How?
To be fair, his he's doing really well with that pre-season squad.
I agree, but I also feel like the Bayern Munich squad.
He got Harry Kane a
trophy.
Well. Yeah, you should, but then you should say that about a lot of teams, like a lot of managers entering bigger teams, and that's just not the case for a lot of them. Or it takes so long. It takes long for them to do it, but then the issue by that point is that the board start losing faith because of how big the team actually is that they've brought this manager into.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll touch on Bayern Munich and a certain French winger in a few places' time. So we'll come back to Bayern Munich in a bit. But just scraping survival, I have gone with Ipswich.
Yeah,
as we just said, spent some money on Delap. Good striker coming in for them. I think he'll do quite well. The centre back from Hull, I think he'll do really well. And I'm bringing back Amari Hutchinson. Big signing there, bringing back Hutchinson.
Ben Johnson provides some
squad, all he knows the
system. In the defence.
And also McKenna. I think McKenna's going to cook. I think his tactics are going to be unbelievable in the Premier League, and they're going to stay up comfortably in 17.
I do think McKenna will do well, and I do like their squad, but I still have an issue where I don't believe the gap. If I know if the gap was maybe 3-4 years ago, I would have been like, maybe. I'll put Ipswich up there. I'll put Leicester closer to it. I might put Southampton maybe potentially closer to it. One of the teams that I have in the relegation battle, pushing the mid-table bit, I might be like, we'll push them backwards, put them into the relegation spots. But the Premier League just have a thing where if the rich get richer, and the newly promoted teams don't get the backing needed, and you usually find that you might get one or two good battles, but in the end, it all dies down before the season ends.
Yeah, the adrenaline wears off towards the end, and it just. Yeah. So I can see Everton and Ipswich switching around in my predictions. But
by January, February, that's usually when you lose your first one. By April, you lose the second one, but then usually it's the final week that you lose the third one. But in this case, it's by February for the first two, and then by March, April time, you're potentially losing the third one.
A bit of a boring relegation battle this year, then, you reckon?
I see it being similar to last year.
Yeah. And who have you got surviving?
I think Ipswich will make it. Obviously, I think it's similar to last year, but the difference being I think Ipswich will last longer and won't have the same goal difference issue that Luton had, which would have prevented them. But in the end, they'll still come down. My 17th team, I have just surviving. I have Wolves. And I will say
Interesting.
that the team I've got 17th to 16th to 15th, the next three, were some of the harder ones I had to decide.
Yeah.
But for me, Kilman, massive in the defence, gone. Neto, just gone. It's a bit. That's a good attacker, a good defender. I don't think that they've brought in too many of quality. Jose Sar's looking to potentially be going out as well. It's like, and I don't mind their signings. I do think Strand Larsen will do well. They also brought another young Portuguese player in, but it's not exciting. And I feel like Gary O'Neill will be similar to last year, but his score will be worse. The results will be worse. He'll still survive. He might just keep his job, but it could be a huge risk of him being one of the ones that get sacked. But I think the gap will be enough that Wolves can do bad and still, survive. But I think Wolves have lost a lot of good quality and a lot of experience and key players for them, and brought in players that aren't as effective, in my opinion. And it's been
So
a replacement.
you think the outgoing Pedro Neto is going to cause a big problem then?
Neto, for me, alongside Cunha and Hwang Hee-chan, when you had that front three, were massive in the attack, and Kilman is probably their best defender, and he's gone.
I can see where you're going. I can see where you're going, but
because I haven't seen Wolves make a replacement. Like Wolves haven't found Wolves' replacement winger. Like their replacement winger, cool. You've got Strand Larsen. You've got that new the young Portuguese winger. But centre back, who have you got to replace him? Who's the quality that will replace Kilman?
We'll find out in the next couple of weeks. They bring one in, and we will talk about the winger replacement when we get to my Wolves prediction.
Yeah,
because I think it's going to be a big replacement for them, and I think who they're going to bring in potentially is going to be an interesting signing.
Yeah.
But go on then. In 16th, I'm going to say we're both going to think they're comfortably surviving. Maybe a little scared midway through, but they're going to comfortably survive.
Not quite. I think mine will be another, similar to Wolves. They'll be closer to Wolves than they would be to my 15th place team. So I think these next two, Wolves and the team I've got 16th, yes, and Nottingham Forest will be the ones that fight Ipswich in the bottom bit.
Maybe dip in the relegation zone.
I think they could probably dip their toes near there, but for me, the only signing that I really like from them is Milenkovic.
Yeah.
Really. I think Elliot Anderson was only brought in really as a means of Newcastle need FFP to cover.
He's a good player though.
He is a good player, but £35 million, and he hasn't. Haven't seen a lot of him to be able to, to prove that.
Compared to same price as this man here, it is probably quite expensive.
I think Minter's good, but I even think Minter's maybe not quite the 35 yet. I think Minter's probably about 25, and Elliot Anderson's no more than 18, 19.
We'll discuss Minter when we get to Brighton in a minute.
Yeah.
But yeah, Forest 16th. Maybe dip a little bit, but they're going to survive. Nothing inspiring in the transfer window really. So let's move on to 15th. Where again, I think we might have a same prediction.
Okay. What have you got?
Fulham.
No. So explain your Fulham thing, and then I'll explain who I have.
I've gone Fulham because, again, anyone from 15th up for me could finish anywhere in the top sort of 8th. But I've got to put them somewhere. So I think this season, they've got Smith Rowe in. Fantastic. He's going to play really well, but it's going to be next season when you start seeing Smith Rowe really come to life for Fulham, I think.
Yeah.
So I think they're going to easily survive. They could push for Europe, as I've said. Top 10 maybe. But it's a difficult prediction, these ones. But yeah, Smith Rowe, keeping Muniz will be massive. I think they will keep him. He's not really been linked with the moves away. He'll score a few. But yeah, just 15th for Fulham again. I don't want to be too rogue. But yeah, who have you got in there?
will hit the 40-point mark, Everton. You know,
Okay.
it's a good squad. It's a squad that has slightly improved to the one last year, and with the points deduction they'll get, I already mentioned that I think it'll be no more than 6, maybe potentially his maximum of 8. I just feel like Dyche will gently sail across, and Everton will hit the roads where they'll start to climb up, and because they don't want to be going down.
Yeah.
They don't want to be in the relegation, spots and being relegated to the Championship when the following season they'll be in a new stadium. They'll want a good send off to Goodison Park, and I think a comfortable 15th place will sort that out.
If Everton go down, like I've said, do they go down and down and down with the money problems they could have?
I think if they get to the Championship, it will be they'll be able to stabilise themselves. Because once you're in the Championship, you tend to sell a lot more of your key players that came from the Prem and want to be up there, which makes the finances a bit easier.
A massive rebuild if they do go down, which I think Everton need anyway.
Oh yeah, they do, and I do think if they went down, Dyche would probably still join them in it.
And another reason why, back to Fulham quickly, 15th.
Yeah.
The loss of Paulinho to Bayern Munich will be a big loss for them.
That could be big. Yeah.
If they still had him, I'd probably put them a little bit higher.
Yeah,
but the way he controlled the midfield.
I mean, I guess it's similar in the sense of Brentford without Ivan Toney from last season. Where would they sit in a sense? It could be similar in a sense there, but I mean, have they bought anyone as like a replacement yet for him, or are they still?
I haven't really seen, to be honest. Might have to do a quick VAR check on that, because obviously we know the Smith Rowe signing.
No, they've made 3 signings: Smith Rowe, Quainer from Villarreal, and then they brought Ryan Sessegnon back to the club.
So nothing apart from Smith Rowe, and Sessegnon could do quite well for them again.
I think Sessegnon will be big for them. Like, put him in left mid, have Robinson at left back. They could work quite nicely.
It just screams.
I think Quainer could be interesting in that midfield, but or not midfield, defence. He probably could push potentially up into the midfield, but
it just screams lower mid half to me.
Yeah.
Up to 14th, then I'll let you go on this one.
Well, this one I know we've done the same here, and we've put Brentford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just another. If they keep Toney again, another one I could have put higher.
Yeah. Oh no, for me, if they keep Toney, this is where they would sit. If they were without Toney, they'd fall. Wouldn't put them there.
Really, I kind of agree with that. If they keep Toney, I could push them a little bit, but I'm going to stick with this. Even if they do keep Toney, we're around this position.
Yeah, if they were with him or without him, you could only maybe see a +1, or if they were without him, maybe 16th again, something like that.
Yeah, but the signing of Fabio Carvalho.
Yeah, I didn't. Obviously, when I did these, the Fabio Carvalho thing came in yesterday, so I didn't affect it. But I think that he'll be interesting as well as Igor Thiago, who was meant to be the Ivan Toney replacement, but it looks like they might have both of them.
Yeah, well, Igor Thiago is out for quite a while, isn't he? A couple of months with a bad injury. So once he comes back,
I did these. My last draft of this was probably like 4 or 5 days ago.
Yeah, so he is out for a while, I think. So that could be a problem for them with just Toney as the main striker. Again, if Toney drops off a little bit, gets injured.
You've got Bremo and Visser who can always go more central.
But that's not you want to have, really. Obviously, I don't know the ins and outs of Brentford and the tactics, but if you're thinking Toney, Visser, and Bremo and Carvalho in a front 4, that could be quite good.
Brentford tend to Brentford either switch with a 4 or a 3 at the back. If they go 3 at the back, you tend to have the 2 strikers. You tend to have more of a target man in someone like a Tony or an Igor Thiago, alongside Mbeumo or Vissa, who sort of sit in more of a false 9 type position. But if they're going 4 at the back, you just tend to have that solo striker.
I think it'll be a good battle between Smith Rowe and Carvalho. I think whoever's the better player there will determine who finishes higher.
Yeah, that's true.
Lots of assists. Carvalho to Tony could be deadly.
Yeah, but then giving Smith Rowe full reins in the midfield could be. Because if Smith Rowe could replicate his 2020 sort of season, where him and Saka really blew up the Arsenal attack, that would be huge. And I think that if we can get that Smith Rowe, Fulham could go places. Smith Rowe could really push his game to another level.
I agree. Right, enough on Brentford. Up to 13th. We've already mentioned this team. I think they're going to comfortably survive here. No even question of relegation.
Well, you've put
again,
Wolves?
I could have put them higher. I've gone with Wolves in 13th. I like Gary O'Neill. I like the squad. They've kept Cunha. Obviously, then let go of Pedro Neto. But the replacement they've been linked with, Carlos Borges or Forbes,
they've
from
signed.
Ajax.
That could be interesting, yeah. But I know what they have signed is Rodrigo Gomez from Braga. I know that's the confirmed one.
But yeah, they've been linked with Forbes, and I think he could really... He's Portuguese. He's going to be good for Wolves if they bring him in. I've always liked him when he was at City. He was linked with Brighton. Obviously, he was really close to West Ham and ended up at Ajax. I just think this is a good move for him. Good environment for him. Good manager. And it would just be a 13th place finish.
Yeah.
Nothing too special. Nothing scary in relegation. Just
nothing.
Then next season, again, another team, if it works, could push higher.
Maybe. We'll have to see. Well, yeah, my one's another team we've already mentioned before. Literally, just in your 14th, I've got Fulham in 13th.
So probably similar reasons to me for that area.
Yeah, it's just, I have obviously I'm going to have a slight bias towards the Smith Rowe signing, but, as I said, I've seen him play, well, when he has. He's good, and I said if he can replicate that 2020 season, Smith Rowe could elevate the Fulham side potentially into a top 10, But I do have to agree that there is a detriment in João Palhinha being that anchor in midfield and not really knowing who will, sit in that position and, be able to replicate it to a decent standard. But Marco Silva has found it comfortable just getting mid-table, and that's just going to be another repeat for this season.
And in 12th, again, I think we might be similar again here. A team that if they hadn't have lost Dominic Solanke, I had in my top 8.
Oh, okay. No, we're not the same then.
But because they've lost Dominic Solanke, I'm putting Bournemouth in 12th. I like Iriola.
We'll get on to Bournemouth a bit later for me as well. And I'll explain my stuff,
interesting. I like Iriola. Good team. They brought in the centre-back from Juve, which I think they needed to reinforce their back line.
They've got
Alex Scott, fit from the start of the season.
Isn't Julian Araujo from Barcelona, the Mexican right-back, is also there?
Exactly. They've got a good team. And I'm kind of regretting a little bit putting them in 12th. But for now, until I see who they replace Solanke with.
Yeah, get a midfield 2 of Tyler Adams and Alex Scott with someone maybe in the sense of maybe a Billing or one of their other wingers into that cam spot. I know that Bournemouth's main thing is they're either getting Evan Nilsson from Porto if they can find an agreement, but if they can't, they'll go to Eddie Nketiah.
And if they bring Evan Nilsson in, I'd put them into the top 8. If they bring Nketiah in, I'll keep them in 12th.
I think they're bringing Nketiah in, similar to Smith Rowe. If you can get him in a good run of form, like they're not terrible players. You could probably scrape a top 10 with Bournemouth with an Nketiah.
It was just the losing Solanke. I wish they'd lost him a couple of weeks ago and got a replacement now, because then it would have been an easier prediction to make.
Yeah, probably would have been a bit easier. But my 12th place, and okay, you're not gonna like it, and I'm gonna have to explain why. But I've got Brighton in 12th.
Okay, I can see the vision, to be honest.
So I like, obviously, nothing against Hersler or anything that's done there. I like Hersler. I think what he did with St. Pauli is interesting, and I've already looked into how Brighton could replicate it. I've watched some of the preseason games. I think he'll keep it stable. Like, he won't go you can't go too ambitious with someone like him yet. But you can't say that Brighton will just be down in the relegation spots and lose Hersler straight away. I don't think that's the case. I think the signings are very interesting. Minter, fantastic. I remember telling you a year ago about him before he even joined Newcastle Feyenoord, and I knew that he would be something.
2 years ago, wasn't it?
Yeah, two years ago, I said that you need to look out for Yankuba Minter. While he's at Odense, not really making him much in the, what was it, Danish? I think Odense is in.
Yeah.
That league or whatever one it was. Then he joins Newcastle, blows up at going to the final, and instantly joins Brighton. And that's the perfect place to be. Is Brighton, a team that can sit comfortably in the mid-table, push into European spots eventually, know how to work youngsters. I think you signed some German midfielder yesterday.
Yeah.
I can't remember a few others. Yeah, I don't know how many other signings you have made. I haven't kept up too much. And even though you've lost Pascal Gross, I don't think it's the end of the world.
No.
I mean, you've lost key experience in Lallana, but Lallana was literally just sitting as a touchline person at that point. But I think it'll be a, comfortable pushing the top end of the mid-table into the potentially top 10 spot position. And then for the second season of Hersler, who I expect will survive and can really put his project into work, will then improve you guys further.
I'm similar in agreement. Maybe I put us a little bit higher, but we'll get on to why and the signings when we go to my prediction and our links as well, because they're really interesting who we're being linked with. But in 11th, yes, I've gone boring. They're going to finish there again. I don't like them, but I do think my prediction might be a little bit low. Depending on how their squad gels together under Glazner. It looked good at the end of last season. Crystal Palace.
Yeah, no, I can see why. Like, for me, I was deliberating where I was putting some of the teams in that area. Again, after 6-7 drafts, so I was like, oh, I could put them there, but I could try this. But yeah, no, I can see why you put a Glazner and Palace side just outside the top 10.
But they could easily push higher. That's the problem with these predictions now. Any of these teams here could push higher.
Yeah, I think now you're talking cusp of the top 10.
The loss of Elise, as I mentioned earlier, is massive.
Yeah.
They have replaced him with Daichi Kamada, but he didn't really set the world alight at Lazio.
Yeah, but remember that Daichi Kamada is an ex-player under Glazner at Frankfurt.
Yeah.
So Glazner knows Daichi Kamada inside out. So that's big, is that at least he knows what player he has, and he knows that if he can get the player that he knows out of it, could do really well for Brighton. Oh, not Brighton, Crystal Palace.
It's just a team. It's a good team. I hate to say it, but it's a good team. They've got a good manager, and Kamada could cook. It's not quite there. If they lose Gurhi, they missed out on getting Smith Rowe and Nusa, because he looks like he's off to Leipzig now. They're losing. They've lost two key players.
Here we go, it's done.
Yeah, there we go. And if they lose Gurhi, big loss. And Anderson's been linked with Fulham as well. Two big losses there potentially.
them guessing Diego Carlos, but I think it was Joachim Henderson was a backup option if they couldn't do anything. But it looks like it's progressing further and further into getting a deal done. So
We'll
we
see.
could have
Palace again, an interesting
Diego
one.
Carlos. Yeah,
But we will see with Palace. Not much more to say on Palace, really. So, who have you got on 11th?
No, not this one. Okay, well, this is probably the most outlandish one I've got. But you know what? I don't care, and I'll ride it to the grave. I put Chelsea in 11th.
Okay, this is what we like to hear.
It's probably the only prediction that is the most outlandish, and it's the only one that's a bold statement to make out of what I've got, really. And for quite simply, too many signings, Chelsea not knowing how to look after a manager, the amount of players the squad can't gel properly, Maresca's project will not work. He'll be gone. Maresca won't survive the entire season because it's not what Chelsea are currently doing. Well, he may be a head coach in the sense that he doesn't get to do too much, but I don't think he's proven himself enough. I think if he stayed at Leicester for a season and then got the move once he knew how he was like, that's fine. But I don't think Maresca's ready. And it's just because he's a disciple of Pep that he's, got the big role and everything. Too many signings, and there are a few good ones, but yet again, it's just the amount of signings, how big the squad will be. Players be like, I want to play here, I want to play. Similar to what happened with Pochettino, Potter, too many players and it won't work. And eventually they will push for a recovery run, but you'll be outside the top 10 personally. And you really have to question, is Todd Boehly the right person to run your football club?
Wow. I agree. Slightly.
Like, I have no hate towards Chelsea or Boehly or Maresca or any what they do.
It's just not right, is it, at the moment?
It's basically how to run a football club in career mode.
Yes, sign everyone and everyone will become good.
Yeah, this player hasn't worked right, we'll sign him. Or you're for the future, we'll sign you. You'll be under 7 years of contract, but we're not going to play you a single game.
Pretty much.
Have you seen Cole Palmer? Have you seen the Cole Palmer? He's got another 2 years tacked on, so he's at Stamford Bridge for 9 fucking years.
Yeah, 120 grand a week now, isn't it?
Yes, he deserves it, but it's just like he deserves it, but don't give him. Just give him a boost in the money he's not. Don't give him another 2 years because you're just causing more issues.
Yeah,
there's way too many issues you're causing by just extending people already on long contracts already.
Well, interesting you put Chelsea 11th, because I just made a last-minute change before we started to my predictions. I put Chelsea 10th.
Yeah.
Similar reasons to you. I do think they'll get in the top 10. I just think what you said is spot on. We will go up to 9th.
I'm giving you my 10th, you're jumping ahead of things.
Oh, I've jumped ahead. 10th.
You're jumping way too far ahead. I'll make it quick because there's not much more I need to add on to it. I've got Bournemouth in 10th for, similar reasons apart from the Solanke thing. I just feel like you get a slight improvement and I already like their squad already. The players they've brought in, I like. Okay, they've lost Solanke, could be big. But then who you're looking at, Nketiah has Prem experience, or Evan Nilsson, which is a bolder option to go for. I just feel like this project is getting into work. So you had them, around 13th last season. It'll be an improvement, and then eventually it'll be slow improvements where eventually Bournemouth could start being a European contender if all goes to plan.
We could definitely see Bournemouth in Europe in the next 3-4 years.
All right, you can jump up to 9th now.
Not getting ahead of myself now. I think this team, Champions League, is going to drop them down a few places.
Okay, I know where you've put them. I know what team you've put
Aston Villa in 9th.
Yeah.
again, Emery is unreal. Squad is good, very good. Gonna lose Diego Carlos, it seems. They've lost Diaby, they've lost Douglas Luiz.
The
Three pretty big
one's
players
the most
there.
surprising for me. Diaby's the most surprising.
Yeah.
You know, he turned down. The thing is, was the fact that Diaby turned down Saudi to spend 1 year just to then change his mind.
Yeah, it's a weird one.
Yeah.
And Champions League as well. I would have thought he would have wanted to play for Villa in the Champions League, but
I was about to say Champions League football was there. But that's the issue with Saudi. It's, do you want to go for, success, or do you just want the money? And I think it's really, the Saudi project is really showing the footballers' actual intentions.
Yeah, unfortunately.
A lot of footballers their intentions weren't to, win big. It was to get the best contracts possible, get the money. Even if you're not amazing, you'll still get the money. That's the issue.
Yeah. But Villa have they've brought in Samuel Illing Jr., who I think is a very good player. And I think he will be good. It will take him a couple of seasons. So I think next season, the season after, we'll really see him properly. They've brought in the other one from, is it Juve? I can't remember his name. It's a long name.
Argentine it's the Argentinian one.
Yeah. He another young one. Again, it might take a season to adapt to the Premier League. But I just think with the Champions League, losing Douglas Luiz and Diaby, they'll drop down to 9th. They'll do well in the Champions League, I think. But they'll put a lot of focus on that, which will dip the Premier League form a little bit.
Yeah, it'll be a similar thing to Newcastle in a sense, but just without the injuries.
And in
my ninth place was something that I changed last minute, in the sense of I did it on my train ride home yesterday. I've got Crystal Palace.
Okay.
Similarly, I think I don't need to add much on to what you said. It's sort of that I feel like Kamada-Glasner connection will work. I think Kamada-Eze will be just as good as as Eze-Elise. I feel like I do like Riyad, who's another signing they've made into that back line. There's not too much that's gone on with Palace. Yeah, they missed out on targets. Yeah, they've lost a huge player, but I feel like I think because Glasner took a team from the relegation spots into the top 10. If he gets a full season, he'll push the top 10 again. And I was tempted to leave him just outside or just on 10th, but I changed last minute. I was like, let's go positive, see the project still working, go for 9th.
I just think they need to replace Elise.
Backwards, ride it. I do think Elise's going to be. For me, Glasner Kamada could be a close enough thing of what you're going to get at this moment in time.
Because they did also bring a backup winger in, who we haven't mentioned yet, Ismaila Sarr.
That's true. I forgot that Ismaila Sarr came in.
So he could be big off the bench.
With Watford. He didn't do too bad for Watford, but
he'll probably play wing back quite a lot for them, I believe. So it'll be good
Glasner
impact
works. It'll be like he'll come in instead of Munoz, really. Yeah. You'll have Munoz at starting wing back, and then Ismaila Sarr would come in there.
But going up to 8th
place.
I'm so confused by the European, the way it works. So could get Europe in 8th depending on the coefficient.
I think so. I don't know if it
resets every year.
Like that.
I don't know if it resets or not.
What it is, it's just a coefficient thing. You just need to be within that top 2. Doesn't matter. Because it's like the club ones. It's similar to the club sense, really.
Okay, so could be getting Conference League in 8th. Newcastle.
Oh, okay.
Haven't done much yet in the window. Didn't get a chance to have Minter in the squad. Lost Anderson. Could be bringing in Gurhey, which would be good for them. But they've kept Isaac, kept Gordon. Good squad. I don't know. I just feel like PSR might have been a bit of a rubbish start to the season for them, and I just think they're going to finish 8th. I don't know why. Really, I haven't really got a reason.
Okay, well, I've got
I
West
just think
Ham
the
in
teams
8th.
above them are better.
Yeah, so as I
That's it.
said, I've got West Ham in the 8th position.
Okay.
For me, it's good for I think Lopetegui would be good. I do like their signings, but I feel like it will be a slow progress at the beginning of the season. It'll be a late push. I think the main battle for West Ham will be with potentially a Palace or Bournemouth.
Yeah.
And because I feel like even though they could easily get into the comfortable European spots, I feel like it's under. I don't think Lopetegui's like an elite manager, but he's not bad.
Solid.
He's like a
He's a
comfortable,
solid
solid
manager.
mid manager who could eventually get West Ham there. Because I don't think Fulkrug is the complete package, but he's a really good striker, an upgrade on what they've got. I think
Yeah.
Kilman will improve that defence, but Kilman and Mavropanos defensive duo, that could work. I like Wan-Bissaka. I think there's a good chance to revive his career. You know, they're
Interesting.
good signings, but I just feel play it safer than, put a big risk so that they could be just outside Europe or, push for a potential 7th rather than go bigger and say they'll get Europa League or something like that. Because I don't think the quality is quite there yet compared to the other teams.
We'll get on to my West Ham predictions soon. But I want your 7th
You better
now.
not put them top 5.
We're going into 7th now. Your 7th, getting Champions League, not Champions League, getting European football of some sort.
Who
have you got?
I'm playing it similar to how you had it with Villa, but I've got Villa a bit better. I had Villa in 7th.
Okay.
Because I agree in the natural fall off. Because I think it'll be similar to Newcastle. And especially the new format, there's a lot more games you need to play. But they've already done it within Europe once. It may have been a much more inferior one, but they already know what they're doing, so they can have a slight improvement. So it won't be a massive fall off, but it will be a natural one that you might see from a team that isn't quite yet to a European one. Similar how to West Ham had it and Leicester had it. It's a slight fall off.
Yeah.
And Newcastle from last season, as I mentioned. I know they've lost some big signings, but I like Amadou Onana. I think he'll be great for that midfield.
Yes.
Yeah, I think we've mentioned their other signings, really. Philogene could be a good one.
Yes.
Philogene could be good. But yeah, I just feel like natural fall off back into 7th, still in Europe, but it's a slow progress. And once they're used to Europe, you could see them, doing better in it.
Really well, yeah. And my 7th, a lot of people have said this team is going to get relegated or close to relegation. I'm obviously going to be a bit biased, but I've seen us in pre-season, and I think we're going to finish 7th. I've got Brighton in 7th.
Yeah. I forgot you hadn't said Brighton yet.
I could easily see us anywhere between 6th and 14th. But I'm going to go against what everyone said. I'm going to put a 7th, because then I look really clever if we actually finish higher than anywhere in that position. But of course, as we said, Minter has looked unreal in pre-season. We're about to sign Brajan Gruda, who I think is going to play as a sort of centre forward with Pedro and Welbeck.
I was supposed to say,
not too much idea of him. We brought in Matt Pfeiffer.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about Pfeiffer.
Very good. Very good defensive midfielder, what we needed. Balaba's going to get more minutes. We're still looking at Matt O'Reilly, apparently, to play alongside Pfeiffer, slightly more attacking centre mid. But I think he'll go at Atalanta. And the big one at the moment for Brighton, which we need, is Ferdi Kadioglu.
That's an interest. Yeah, Kadioglu's interesting. I was seeing a lot. It became through, because I know Dortmund and Arsenal were the main two at it, but now we have Calafiori and we're keeping Zinchenko. Is it really a need for him? So we're out of it. Dortmund will keep trying, but I don't think they'll find the finances. You guys.
Dortmund's out. It's us and United apparently, but United I don't see going.
United don't need them anymore.
No, so it's us.
Because what I can see with the United backline, with what they've got, and we can mention that more later on. You've got Mazraoui at the right back spot, put Lisandro Martinez in the left back spot, and have a De Ligt Euro partner in the defensive backline. I think that could work for them, but we can mention more about that when we get to one of the United predictions.
But yeah, I think if we get Kadioglu in, then I think we finish 7th. If not, a bit lower.
Yeah. Here's a question I'm gonna put out. Here's a question I'm gonna put out there. You're bringing in. You've got Minter. You've bought in Gruder. What? There's been links with Adingra and a potential move away to Arsenal. With the fact that Gruder's now come in, you've got Minter. You've got Mitoma. Some and like others. Could you see a potential move happening then?
No chance.
Say someone came in.
Because we'll have.
Like, if the right money came in, say, because obviously his base value is around 30, but obviously Brighton will obviously ask for more. If you got an offer around anywhere between 35 and 45 million, would you consider it?
We'd laugh and say go away.
Because it's just it's just a question out there, because obviously it's going to be hard for him to be gone, because it's obviously with Brighton, but with the fact that you've bought in Minter and now Gruder, and you've obviously already got something like a Mitoma, I think I'm trying to work out who else you've got in the winger department.
We'll have Minter and Adingra battling for the left wing. We'll have Koza Dewberry and Minter battling for the right wing, and then we'll have Welbeck and Ferguson battling for striker, and then João Pedro and Gruder battling for the false 9 second striker role. And with the intensity that Hurst plays at, we need all of them. So I don't see any of our forwards leaving.
It's just because I saw in the recent few days, in the last 3 days, there's been a link. Because we're looking for a Saka backup, and he was one of the names that ended up coming through in some of the rumours.
Yeah, no chance I see Adingra leaving anytime soon.
Yeah, it was just a question out there to see what. Yeah.
Going up into the 6th position, I believe now.
Yes, we've done 7th.
Actually, I'll go first in 6th, because I think we might agree.
Okay.
Liverpool.
Let's see. No.
Wow, okay. They've done absolutely nothing in the transfer window. Half their players' contracts expiring in a year. It's just a little bit of a mess at the moment. Slot, I really like. I just think it might take us a little drop off this season. And then next season is when I see Liverpool cooking.
Yeah, no, I can see why. And it's not like it's not like I'm out. I would completely disagree. Because I do agree. There's been no signings. It's the same squad. Could you see much progression or fall back? But for my 6th place, I've got Newcastle.
Okay.
Because I think it will be similar to last year. Not as many injuries, but to be honest, the only upgrade I see in that Newcastle side is Lloyd Kelly on Dan Burn.
Yeah.
That's really it. In terms of signings they've made, that would actually make a upgrade. Obviously, Tonali will be back, so that could be good in the midfield, but I don't see much difference.
Gahey, if they bring him in, will be massive.
I think Eddie Howe, if Gahey comes in, I'd consider putting him higher, maybe, but personally, I feel like this could be, where Eddie Howe finds himself with Newcastle, just a Europa League consistent team.
Yeah.
And if the board don't like that, you could really question, is Eddie Howe going to get them back into the top 4? If that's the case.
We shall see. But up to 5th, we've slightly spoken about them, just briefly. Man United.
Yeah.
The signings they've made are good. Mazraoui, De Ligt, Euro. But Euro's injured. Luke Shaw's injured. So they could have a little bit of bit shaky defensively to start with. And I don't see them quite pushing the top 4.
Yeah, another thing, Hoyland's injured. What they brought in Xerxes up top could be a really good one for an attacking sense. But for me, 5th place. Oh, sorry, carry on.
I don't know.
Anything else to add, or?
United is a difficult one to predict because United, Again, United could be awful and finish 8th, or they could win the league.
Yeah. Well,
That's just
I've
how
got
United are.
Liverpool in 5th. Yeah, I've
Okay,
got Liverpool in
yeah.
5th.
Probably
Similar
similar to what I
reasons to
said.
you. No, it's basically the exact same. I just think they'll be on the cusp of a Champions League spot in 5th rather than, going for a 6th spot, trying to make sure they get Europa League. So I think Slot is good manager, better than what most people would, put him out to be. Yeah, they haven't made any signings, but I imagine that will change come the end of the window. So there's not really much more to add on. It's quite hard. It was really hard with Liverpool because it was just like they haven't made any signings. It's hard. Yeah, nothing. It's like I've seen so many like comments on my like when I get into media on like the transfer stuff, and it's like, does Liverpool know the transfer window's open or like some stuff like that? It's just like you really wonder, was it FSG really just going to give them the same players, no changes? Because you go backwards, Klopp when he first came in it's like Klopp when he first came in got a few signings. Yeah, but that was never going to happen anyway. Let's be honest. If he's rejected Man United, Barcelona, Bayern Munich, and Arsenal because he wants to stay at Sociedad, if he changes his mind and does that to Liverpool, you kind of see a bit of, if he has that much love for Sociedad and he rejects those, why would he change his mind and go to Liverpool?
Yeah.
But
pushing Champions League now.
I really do wonder who Liverpool will get.
Probably no one. They'll get Mamardashvili.
Yeah, that looks like it could happen. But if my other thing is you have one other link, and that's for Gyökeres.
Yeah.
But I don't think Liverpool will go in for him because I don't see why Liverpool would go for another attacker at this stage.
Yeah.
Salah can play up there. You've got Jota who can play up there. Nunez. You've already got 3 players you can be up there. And Gyökeres would be similar to Nunez, maybe a little bit more prolific, but already got stuff there. But no, Liverpool's a really tough one because they just haven't done anything. Oh, the Champions League spot now. Time. Oh,
you can go
top
first.
4.
Finishing 4th.
Okay, well we can. Oh, this one should be quite nice and brief because it hasn't got too much left. I've got Man United. And because similar points, but the only thing I'd add on is the Xerxes signing and the fact that I would have wanted him at Arsenal, personally. And because I think he's a great striker, did really well at Bologna. Would have been able to have a good team up with Calafiori. But I think it's really, the signings they've made are really good. The players they've let go are strategic. I think Ten Hag could do some good and get them back into the Champions League.
Okay. In 4th. This team is either going to get Champions League or finish dead last.
Okay.
West Ham United.
Okay. I was like, the funny thing is what I was like, when you said to go to West Ham United, if you heard me, I said, you better not put them top 5, and what have you gone and done? You've put them top 5.
Yeah, top 4.
Yeah, top 4 even worse.
Füllkrug is going to end the striker curse. 25 goals this season. Somerville is going to cook on the wing for him with Kudus. They've brought in Kilman to shore up the back line.
What would you say, like, if you had to bring out a team, what you put Areola, Emerson, Kilman, Mavropanos?
No.
Wan-Bissaka.
Todibo.
I'd first the thing is I'd still start Mavropanos in there because I think Mavropanos has got the thing ready.
That's the
thing. West Ham brought in so many.
Yeah,
Emerson, they spend. I think Emerson, Wan-Bissaka. I mean, unless you try one of the centre backs like that in the midfield and put him alongside Souček. But then you've got Guido Rodriguez. So you could have Souček, Guido Rodriguez, Paqueta, with Somerville, Kudus, and sort of or Bowen can go in there and such like that, and then Füllkrug, Antonio, Danny Ings as like a striker options.
They're going to finish top 4. I'm telling you.
Okay. Do you want to put something on it then?
No, because I also said they could finish dead last.
if you're so confident,
I'm so confident they're finishing 4th or dead last. I don't know which one.
you know what? If West Ham finish in the top 4, I'll buy a Spurs shirt.
Okay, there you go.
But okay, we'll need something in
Speaking
your
of
half as well.
Spurs,
So, but
speaking
okay,
of
well we've
Spurs,
both got them in third, haven't we?
yes,
Both in third. Yeah,
Dominic Solanke.
yeah.
I don't know why I'm so
I could see
excited about
that
that,
being a
but
difference. I mean, the thing
finally
is,
got.
they'll be closer to. The thing is, their third place would be like Liverpool, similar to Liverpool's third place, but not a title race. You know, closer to getting to fourth than you are to a title.
Yeah,
In a sense like that, and sort of
absolutely
how it is.
agree. I just think the
Like,
Solanke's going to push them
There's not
into the
much that they've
third.
improved. There's
No.
not much more that they've done to improve to the squad that they've already got. That's good. I think Archie Gray could be big, but if you give
Yes.
Bergvall the season, that could be really good as well. You know, it's like, and Archie Gray's versatile midfield, fullback.
Yeah.
You know, gives the options.
Yeah,
You know,
Solanke will be the difference.
they've rid themselves of Emerson.
Yeah. It's a good young squad.
It's an ambitious young squad, hopefully, potentially.
And they could, again, another team I could see in the next couple of years challenging City.
Massive City are still there.
Yeah,
The
we'll
City
get
is
on to
still there.
City soon.
Because go on to City soon. We can go on to them right now because in second place, I don't care. I'll put City second.
Wow, okay. Points deduction.
I don't know if the points deduction will be in there, but you know the fact that Savio is your only player you've brought in, and you've let go of some huge players as well, like Julian Alvarez.
Yeah.
It's like, I know that's what City do, but I feel like, you know, the gap was getting closer and closer. And most people have Arsenal, you know, maybe pushing to lucky to get into the top 4 or stuff like that. But it's just like, what, like, those are the same people who obviously would, you know, they're the same people who just think, oh, Liverpool under slot can go and just all fall back into maybe just pushing for the top 10 or in 8th and stuff like that. It's just like,
it's not going to happen.
The fact that you're everyone's sort of already writing off Arteta and being able to do three runs in a row. No, because Klopp, Mourinho, Pep, Wenger, and Ferguson. Okay, they've done it three or more times in a row. But who's to say that? But it's the fact that everyone writes off Arsenal so quickly that just gives me to think that, you know what, I'll put City second because if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but it doesn't matter because I knew that we'll be in another title race.
Yeah. Well, I have gone the other way around. I've gone Arsenal second and City first.
You've gone the safe way round.
Yeah. I need a safe one after my West Ham prediction. I need a safe one. There's not really much to say on Arsenal or City because either of them could win the league.
Yeah, it's a switch I've waited for Man City. You've lost Alvarez, could be big, but then you've brought in Savio, could make a decent change to it. But then your squad's the same. But then you've got Arsenal. You've let go of players that were just not playing last season, or looking to do that. You've brought in Calafiori to improve what was already the league's best defence. Mourinho will be able to go into that midfield and potentially be that Xhaka, the ideal Xhaka replacement. Yeah. We'll probably look for a backup winger. If we can get a backup winger in, that could be big. We'll look for a new striker to switch with Havertz, maybe more of a threat. Gyökeres is the big name that currently is going through it. You know, it's like, we're finding ways to improve. Obviously, City don't need to do that, but with the fact that City have the court case, which is apparently starting next month, it's like,
could be a little thing behind the scenes that brings them down a little bit.
Because the thing is either way, either City will win the league and then and potentially get themselves relegated, or they'll win the league and then it'll become a farmers. Basically, just then nothing will happen, or they'll come second with nothing happening, or come second with relegation. But either way, if they win the league and then get, you know, relegated, they to lose their titles. Either way, because Arsenal will be top 2. It may not be on it might have to be on morals. So the fact that we were the second best, but there's a chance that there's a title in there either way, as long as the court case actually goes in against City.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think there's anything else to say on our predictions, unless you've got anything to add.
No, I've gone through the notes I've got. I mean, I don't know why I agreed to the bet, but it's because I know West Ham will not be in the top four, and it's top four. It's not Europe. It's top four. Just to make that very clear to you.
Top four.
It's your prediction of the top four.
Yeah. Well, that is it then. Thank you, Ben, for coming back on.
Well,
and
let's hope
we will see you again.
Hope it's not the last one then.
No, you'll be back on again. Don't worry. But we will see you again at some point in a couple of weeks. I might be back with someone else. I might be back with Ben, or I might be on my own. I don't know yet. I've got a few things planned. But again, thanks, Ben. Thanks, everyone, for watching. Like, subscribe. And I'll see you all later. Fan in the stand. Come on, Brighton. Let's get 7th place. And West Ham need to finish 4th. See you later.